Welcome to Marriage with Joy, which is the most open discussion on the internet about the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant aspects of living in harmony with matrimony. Marriage with Joy unabashedly discusses the most interesting questions raised by listeners. Our informed and informative panel addresses issues with thought, wit, and aplomb. Voted best of the web 2 years running. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, so I was looking for and finding the good. And we are rooted firmly, specifically in good today, because today is the eve of the greatest American holiday. And I call that the greatest American holiday is called, one moment, there she, oh, almost there. Where is she? She's right there. Yeah, we got our wife that's well. So the greatest American holiday is Thanksgiving, because it is the essence of the American experience. Because not only does it date back centuries, which again for America is a long time, actually for any place is a long time, it embodies what America is really about. And that is the understanding that this is a nation that is rooted, formed in the understanding that all people are created equal and that we are here for each other. That is a unique application, different than almost every other country in the history of the world. The only other one that can even compare is the country of Israel, biblically and today. However, the reason America exists with that is because of what we call the Judeo-Christian ethic. And it was rooted here in the United States of America, brought over by people who were fleeing religious persecution to come to a new place, which existed really only in the mind. Nobody had any idea of the grandeur, the size, the scope of what eventually would become the United States of America. Nobody could envision such a large continent. And when a group of approximately 104 people on a very leaking ship, the Mayflower, came across the Atlantic Ocean in a treacherous journey that lasted many weeks and landed not where they wanted to. They wanted to be in a place called Virginia. They landed in a place called today Plymouth, on a rock. Okay, they didn't land actually on the rock, but it's memorialized by a place called Plymouth Rock. And I know it particularly because I visited it, and it's my home state, Massachusetts. And Maura has also a great relationship and affinity for Massachusetts. That's where these people called Pilgrims, Puritans, and a mix of group of other people came, and they arrived in November of the year 1620. So that's 300 and a lot of time ago, almost 400 years ago. 2020 be 405 years ago. The story has shifted because today, unfortunately, too large a population of the United States of America sees these people as the beginning foothold of the oppressive white people in America. It's a bad story. The good story is these are people who came and built up a society that is firmly ensconced in wonderful biblical values, which are involved with the most wonderful word in the world, giving. And it was exemplified by what happened in the first year of the people being in what now is Plymouth Bay Colony. Out of the 104 people, 52 of them died. The winter was so harsh. They did not know what to do. How do you plant? You can't plant in the winter. The ground is too hard. I can attest. I live in Massachusetts. It's hard ground. And nothing really grew there. And only because of a giving being whose name was Squanto, who came out and met the pilgrims, and he said this word. Are you ready? Hello. He was an American Indian who came out to see these people, and he said in the native language, the American, hello. And his story is amazing. Won't go into it right now. So if I just say it's worth of everybody to go and check it out. He had been captured and brought to Europe, went through hardships, spent some time in England and learned the language, came back somehow across the Atlantic again, and he's there meeting the pilgrims. Only God can arrange this, because if you try to tell the story any other way, people say you're out of your mind. That's a bad novel, never make a good movie. It's all true. It happened because one man who was from the area, American Indian, cared about other people. He taught the pilgrims how to plant, how to grow things, such. So by November of 1621, there was food, there was a harvest, there was celebration. The 52 people remaining, again, half the people died in a very terrible way. And they invited the Wampanoag Indians. 90 of them came. And they feasted for 3 days. And they sang psalms. Did you hear that? Not just songs, psalms, because these are religious people. They came to what we call the United States of America to be able to practice their religion freely, because they couldn't do that in Europe. As evidenced even today. Hundreds of years later, Europe is still a crazy place. The United States is struggling to live in our values, Judeo-Christian, and to live with this great word. What we call this holiday Thanksgiving, the giving of thanks. And I'm going to share with our wonderful panel, who I love dearly and appreciate so much, my acronym for the word give, which stands for generosity, inspires vigorous energy. Giving is not a neutral act. Giving is a vigorous, energetic, full throttle, involving the physical, mental, spiritual being act. And it's uniquely American. And until and unless we regain the ability to share with our youth that the story is a story of goodness and of sharing and of caring and not oppressing, then we will have a problem, because right now the country is torn. Okay, now on that high note about Thanksgiving, I'm going to introduce our remarkable panel again and go around and speak to each one to speak about what's happening in their family, their life, with joy, this Thanksgiving holiday, which ushers in again a whole season. That's the other beautiful thing about it. It's not just that Thanksgiving is a unique event. It's a process. It's bringing in a season of giving, of loving, of caring, of being aware of the other. That's not regular. Go to almost, again, any other culture. Okay, it's nice people do things once in a while. It's embedded in our souls, or at least we want it to be. So we're going to start with upper left-hand corner of the United States, up in the great Northwest, where she's suffering from a beautiful 85-degree day. Sorry, maybe 58, and maybe not even that.
No.
Right. Wonderful Dr. Diane Medved, and we have down in the far right-hand corner, and just in the Gulf of America side, wonderful Maura Sweeney. And then holding down the left coast, one of the few conservatives there, and holding it down, anchoring in reality, is fabulous Laurie McDermott. So we're going to begin, as we usually do, with our leadoff batter. Amazing, wonderful Dr. Diane Medved. Dr. D, Dr. Di, please talk to us about what you and your family are doing this remarkable time called Thanksgiving.
Well, I do want to say hi to Lori. So nice to have you back with us. And of course, to Maura, who we've been talking quite a bit. The thing about Thanksgiving that is so special for, since you asked about my family, we always have the kids over and the friends, especially the friends who don't have another place to go, know that they can always come to us. Anyone who is just away from their home, they have a home with us. And one of the celebrations that we have, aside from we don't eat meat in our family. We don't have it all year round except for one day. There is one day I get down my fleishik pots and pans and we have an actual turkey. Now, most people there don't eat it, but I make a turkey. And other people who come make food at their homes and bring it, which is another kind of giving and sharing. And we look forward to that because we have the traditional foods. It isn't like we go to the New York Times food section and we say, and you can now make this. No, no, no. We have the same things every year and they are beloved because I don't make them the rest of the year. And it's one day a year that we have turkey. And the stuffing is what takes forever. Cutting up the bread and putting in the fresh herbs and apple and nuts and mushrooms. The stuffing is like the king of the day, some of which is cooked in the bird, but most of which is cooked in a pan because of our many vegetarians. But the thing that's the tradition is that we go around the table and we ask each person what they're thankful for that is not expected. For example, we assume everyone's thankful for their friends and their family and their job and living in America, which is always expressed, as you eloquently did, Barry, and we appreciate that. But we ask them to talk about something that they wouldn't normally think of. And so people say all kinds of things that,
Can you give us 2 examples?
Well, I can speak for myself. Last year, I remember, usually it's something that comes to you at the moment, maybe spawned by something somebody else said or something that we're saying and being together there. I do a column for a local magazine, and I don't get paid for it. Instead, I get a half-page ad for a synagogue. And I'm pleased to do it because it lets me get in touch with new things about our area. And I find that without that deadline, I probably wouldn't reach out and learn so much. And that's the way I feel about our webinar. This year, maybe I'll just say our webinar is perfect because these are opportunities that come to us. And for me, speaking for myself, I love the fact that an opportunity is thrust on me. And I'm grateful for that because it allows me to grow and to expand. And so when we go around the table, people say, some people will say, I'm happy I have my cell phone because then I can talk to you. And because we can do FaceTime. FaceTime is such an amazing thing. It's just like being here. We can see each other. We can communicate with each other. And it's not missing that whole section, which is to see the person reacting and to see the facial expression, or maybe the pull away that you didn't expect it. But whatever it is, it adds a dimension that is a relatively new thing in our lives. Precious, because it's almost like being together. Remember when we had the pandemic, we couldn't see each other, but we had Zoom, but we could still be together in different ways. I could still do my exercise class because my teacher was doing it on Zoom. And to this day, I still do work out with that same teacher on Zoom. She's in Hawaii. Thank you. I get to go to Hawaii every day. But the point of it is that we have so many opportunities that we never had before to connect and to share and to give and to receive with each other. So as we go around the table, lots of times people will say those kinds of things that are opportunities to be together, not just in the moment, but to expand ourselves beyond where we sit. So anyway, that is one of the many traditions that we have aside from the one day that I make turkey. But anyway, I mean, there's a lot more to say, but I
would like to
compatriots.
I would like to use a stepping stone that you just said. And again, I think it's part and parcel of the genius of America. That is, unlike a lot of other I've been privileged to live in other countries, some of them very poor, Asia and other places. Opportunity is the hallmark of the American experience. People who have an American mindset that I speak with on a regular basis, and I do. I have people that work for me in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, and in parts of India, and in Philippines, and I'm speaking with them regularly. They are acquiring an American mindset. They all want to live here, by the way. I'm just letting you know. But the American mindset for them is opportunity.
Mm.
I can do things. In my home country, example, one of the people who works with me in Pakistan, he feels like he's in a box. He can't even mention anything outside of his religious upbringing because it would bring down upon him, not just censure, but maybe even physical harm.
Mm.
Ah! Opportunity,
Mm.
America. It is part of our being. It's part of our DNA now. And I want to mention just today, FaceTime, since you talked about it. So my sister and her husband and two of her children, the twins, are traveling, and they're in Massachusetts. They're going to my sister's for, oh my gosh, I have a good friend of mine who is in our chat right now. He's waving. Okay. Very funny. I mean, a kid I know, a guy I know since I'm 15 years old, at 60 plus years. Okay. Hi, Kenny, yes. My sister is in Massachusetts, and she's going to my other sister who's in Longmeadow, Massachusetts. So right now, my sister went today, and she FaceTimed me this morning. Why? Because she wanted to show me one of her daughter's new apartments in the Back Bay, and then she went to the cemetery where our parents are buried. And it's great because I used to go every year, or tried to go every year, to visit my parents. Okay, it's very difficult for me to travel, et cetera, et cetera. And now with FaceTime, she's there. And I'm looking at the graves, of some other relatives and such like that. And you might think, well, that's a big grave. Why don't you tell us something happy? Well, it was actually quite happy because we're talking about the family. And the family has generations, right? Past, present, and we like to think future. That's another, by the way, I think, interesting aspect of America. We're very future oriented.
Yes.
We believe in the progress of the American experience, and it will be getting better and better. That's something. So, Maura, I'd like to hand it over to you. Please tell us: Are you having the kids from Maine, or are you just having people?
No, in fact, those two, whether we're going up, they're traveling somewhere. I couldn't believe they're actually staying at their own house for a change because they're redoing their second floor. And she said, Mom, this is like our perfect opportunity to just pull things apart and make things happen. And so I'm very excited for them because they're always on the go, but they will be down and we'll be back up. And I'm thinking, before we get ready, when you're saying we're talking about Thanksgiving, there are probably many people watching today that are totally traditional. I know for anybody who's been watching, they know our family really isn't always traditional. We moved from New Jersey, my husband and I, back in 1983. We had one child. We had a lot of relatives that said, we're not coming to Florida, so we'd have to go up north. Now we have our daughter and son-in-law up in Maine, and my husband right now is somewhere between Spain and Serbia. He's on a trip right now. In fact, he wanted me to come, but I was in Serbia this summer, and I said, Jimmy, I feel like I want to be home. So what are we doing, and what do we do? And hopefully this is for someone who's outside the box like we are, and they could come up with their own. We are doing probably our fourth annual, I could call it Friendsgiving or neighborhood giving. We're in our neighborhood of townhomes. I'm on the hospitality committee. And several years ago, we invited the neighbors who did not have a family that were local. And we invited them, and we all had Thanksgiving outside because it was beautiful weather. And it was wonderful. It was on the driveway. And it gave everybody an opportunity to meet the other neighbors. And then what was also very good, neighbors invite friends. As an example, last year, one of my exercise instructors is from Siberia. And her only grandson, I guess, had gone, I don't know, I guess he was somewhere in college. She had nobody local. And I said, do you want to come over to our house? She was so happy. I don't know how many thank you notes she wrote. So we ended up with this. I was first going to say ragtag, but I would call it more like an eclectic or patchwork of people. And one of the things maybe about not having a large family, where most of my family has passed away. Jimmy only had one sister. So we have a very, very small family, and we can't say, let's get the clan involved. As a result, it has put us in positions, I gather, where we are always inviting others to the table. And I thought about this. Sometimes people think things that in life that are besetting us, let's say, or that don't look like everybody else could be perceived as a lack. And I realized not too long ago, I don't know if my husband and I, and even our daughter, would have had the gigantic hearts we have today had we had a family of 10 kids and 17 cousins. I would have loved it. But because of that, whether it's us down here in Florida, when our daughter was growing up, and she was in her home, or what she was doing when she lived in New York and they always had company, we would invite the world. And it was such a great opportunity. You talk about giving, having other people around a table. And in our case, we eat. Everybody, we get some common food, and then people bring their own things. We have a little time in advance to get to know each other. Then we have dessert and coffee, and then we'll play a game. It turns neighbors and friends into family. There's a love, there's an exchange, and there's a way of honoring the day and letting everyone feel like they belong. And their presence really adds to the joy of the day and the Thanksgiving of the day. So again, I have to tell you, I may not have the traditional way of expressing how we do our holidays. But even in our family, I have to say, we'll do holidays sometimes when the rest of the country is not, because we're all together. And it's just as special for us because we're all getting together and sharing.
So I want to use that as a stepping stone for something. Imagine, if you can, growing up in Siberia and being there in the winter. In other words, let's be blunt, November is pretty close to the winter. I don't think anywhere in Siberia it's less than, I don't think it gets into the 30 degrees plus,
She would go to school with, I forgot what she was telling me, with skis.
So a person growing up in Siberia can't possibly have the same kind of orientation towards inviting people, family, things. I mean, it's not, first of all, it's not part of the Russian mentality. It's a different, not that they are very family oriented. It's just, it's not a big thing. I think you all know I have the Keep Smiling cards, right? So we passed out, thank God we're over, now I think we're close to 9 million cards around the world, past 20 years. And we have them in 27 languages. One of them is Russian. And the most difficult card to give out is the Russian one. And I've had this happen many times. I've given out to people who come from Russia, and they look at it and they say, what is this? We don't do this. Smiling is not part of the Russian being. Drinking, singing, stomping, okay, but smiling, it's not there. Okay. And again, even people who've been in America for a long time, it just takes another generation or two. So think of this person from Siberia, and then thinking about people belonging together who come from very disparate backgrounds. Again, it's one of the hallmarks of the American experience. We used to call it the melting pot. Okay, you don't want to call it that anymore, that's okay. It's the ability to recognize that our differences can be put aside and emphasize that which brings us together, which is that we all believe in life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and helping others to do the same. You hear that? Helping others to do the same. So I love that idea of being and having tables in the driveway laden down with lots of stuff. You know, hopefully cherry pies and apple pies and blueberry pies and maybe even some of that sweetened cranberry sauce, which I can't eat anymore because I'm diabetic. If I have a spoon of it, I'll fall over in a fit because it's really sugar. That's okay. The point is that you see it's a table with people eating, speaking, saying out why they're thankful, but speaking with each other, not just to each other, with each other, and other people listening. Oh, that's interesting. You're happy because you don't have to go, you know, put on snowshoes to go to the store or something like that, or that you can be out in weather in southern Florida instead of Siberia. Hello, can you be even more thankful than that? I don't think so. And so this ability to interact with the other and see them as, like you said, family.
Yes, yes, and they respond. It's so, I love it.
Yeah,
And it's part of the American melting pot.
it is. We're such a wondrous place. And unfortunately, I'm saying this, okay, I'm going to go out on the political spectrum. You don't have to listen to me. It's what the crazies want to tear down. It's the ability for people to be together and build. It's wonderful.
It is.
And I want to specifically ask Lori to comment because every year she talks to us about something that she and her family created just prior to Thanksgiving. And I think it is so beautiful, Lori. So please tell everybody what it is that you do.
What you're talking about is our thank you party.
Yes.
And the past couple of years, because Brad has been doing different jobs, he hasn't been home in some of the weekends in November. So we've moved our thank you party to January. So it's a gratitude party to start because people are so busy in November that, you know, we have it the weekend before, like it was this weekend, and people aren't around. So, which was good because we'd invite a lot of people and, you know, half of them wouldn't come, but they knew they got an invitation, so they felt good. So it was a win-win for everybody. But I'm going to share with you what I'm doing for this Thanksgiving, which has been a little bit of a conundrum for our family, which, you know, it's like my daughter's been upset, my son, everyone's been mad and upset because I was in California. I have 2 kids at Penn State. I have 1 kid in Chicago working. My mom's in Chicago. I said, Mom, we're coming out for Thanksgiving. She's like, I'm good. And I'm like, I'm coming. No, I'm good. What do you mean you're good? I'm good, hon. Mom, we're coming for Thanksgiving, the whole family. No, I'm good. Okay. You want us to come? It was not kidding. 10-minute conversation. Finally, she's like, no, you guys go do something else. Go anywhere else. So we did. Booked Philadelphia. Going to stay at my sister-in-law's. Never did Thanksgiving there before. We're up for something new. So all these pieces start moving. And then one of my sons wants to escape to go someplace in Cabo for a few days. And he's in like 8 continents over like the past 4 days. Bottom line is, I end up going to State College with my husband. We're going to drive from there with my daughter, and we're going to go to my sister-in-law's house. Well, then I get a call on Tuesday that my mom woke up. Her cancer that they thought was just dead is 3 inches by 2 inches and is leaning on one of her arteries, and her face blew up like an Oompa Loompa, and she's in the hospital. And I'm in, State College. So I was like, oh, shoot. So I get on a plane. I come back to Chicago. And then it's like, they said, well, there's nothing we can do. And so the plan is, well, she's going to die. She's like, I'm good. I'm going to die. I don't want to do chemo. Don't want to vomit. Don't want to lose my hair. Don't want to shit myself. I'm done. And so we're like, okay. And then the doctor comes in and tells her all the odds she has of making it through this. And she's like, okay, I'll do that. And so now she's going to live again. So we're like, okay, we're ready. We're going to live. It's Thanksgiving. Let's do this. And so then I'm like, well, she's good. I'm going to escape and go back to Philadelphia for a couple of days. And then all my brother's leaving, everyone's leaving. So my mom's like, just stay with me. We'll have a good time. And then her friends, anyway, the bottom line is it's been all these moving pieces. And I, as a flexible, loving, caring daughter of, a mom, I'm doing my best to shift because, if you treat your parents well, your kids will learn and they'll do the same. So you pass it on. My mom treated her mom really well. And I want to just take care of her, make sure she's okay. So what's funny though, is as time has progressed, I've shared this with some of my girlfriends who all have lost their mother already. And the comment they give me is, yeah, welcome to the club. You lose your kids, they go off. You have your marriage issue when, empty nest. And then your mom and dad pass away, right? Those are all like stages of life. And everyone's been through it except for me. And it's like I've just entered into a world where everyone has been living comfortably for years. And it's new and cancer and what? Like, I don't know anything. So talk to the doctor again. And apparently she only has 6 months to a year to live. And I've decided not to tell her. Right. So that's a little bit of a conundrum. Hopefully she won't watch the show. But
I was going to say,
she can barely turn on a computer. She's almost 85. But the point is, it's like we don't know what's going to happen. And so as I told my kids, because they're like, we're coming to Chicago. I'm like, no, stay there. Just enjoy yourself there. And then my husband's like, just come out for a couple of days. So I'm flying to Philly tomorrow for 2 days and I'm coming back. And my mom's like, great, have fun. So family is not about making sure people are where they're supposed to be or you have to be in a certain place. It's about wherever you are and when your family's there. Like if I was going to stay here, I'd figure it out. I'd have people over. I'd go somewhere else. You just put a smile on and find a way to love and gather, right? And so wherever we are, that's what we're going to do. And that's what I was telling my kids. And, it took a while for them because they were like, well, this isn't working. I don't like, but it's okay. So it all works out. Happy Thanksgiving.
That's a story. Let's talk about your thank you party for a moment. However, before you do that, I want to make mention of something. Again, just because I have a passion for history, as does Diane's wonderful husband, Michael. And you're not going to be in, what do you call it, state Pennsylvania, right?
State College. That's where Penn State is.
How far is that from Gettysburg?
A bit, like 4 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah, okay, so you're on the other end of the state.
But I will be in Philadelphia for Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Okay.
And that's right there.
Okay, so let's talk about Pennsylvania, talk about Gettysburg for a moment. Because and I say this with respect, almost. Those of you who don't know what Gettysburg is, do a search. It's an important place in the American pantheon. It was a turning point in the Civil War. The Civil War was the greatest loss of life for Americans in our entire history. If you add up all the people that died and were maimed in the Civil War, it's more than all other wars combined. It was truly pulling at the heart and soul and very essence of our being. And it was fought to maintain the Union, which was developed here as a nation where all people are created equal. We had to fight a war for it, though, because it's not a simple thing. It's not just words. It's real. The reason I mentioned Gettysburg is because it was November 19th of 1863. Gettysburg was fought over 3 days, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th of 1863. The Union prevailed. The South under Lee retreated. And that was the turning point of the war. President Lincoln went to speak at Gettysburg, November 19th, 1863. He was not the main speaker that day. There was another great speaker, very famous person who nobody knows today. It's very good. He spoke for 2.5 hours. People used to do that in those days. Lincoln spoke for almost 3 minutes, 272 words that are literally carved into the very being of the American soul. Because some of his words, 70 years ago, our fathers brought forth in this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition of all men are created, et cetera, et cetera. And that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall never perish from this earth. In those 272 words, he encapsulated America. And it was a turning point also, because he dedicated November, the last Thursday in November, as a day called Thanksgiving. Now, it didn't become a national holiday until years later. However, it was a moment that solidified the process of the pilgrims from 1620-21 to 1863 to 2025, and hopefully centuries going on. And we have something called the Thanksgiving that everybody should participate in. And it's a day where you give thanks, recognition that there's a creator, there is the Lord of the universe, and that we're not here just as random events that are coming and going and nothing ever makes a difference. Every single human being makes a difference. Is that not the American idea? That's something so powerful that I think about our crime, just thinking about it. To be thankful to be in this country and to share this like we're doing now in a very public forum, and to be waving the flag, as it were, without waving the flag. We don't need a flag waving. We're here to talk about giving thanks. And it stretches back, by the way, thousands of years, because I talked about the Psalms. So when you tell us, Lori, that your thank you party, which used to happen before Thanksgiving, and now got moved to January, so I can say, okay, now you become a Greek Orthodox, that's all. Because Greek Orthodox celebrate Christmas in the beginning of January. Okay, fine. Again, it's another part of the genius of America, because Maura lives in a community where there's a lot of Greeks, and there's probably some Greek Orthodox, right?
We have a whole bunch of Greeks, yes.
And I bet you they celebrate Christmas,
They do in January.
Yeah, January 7th. So
Easter, it's a couple of weeks later, yes.
And as we said, the day of Thanksgiving, November, whatever it's going to be, 26, 27, it doesn't matter. The last Thursday in November is the beginning of a process. It's not just an event. And to me, that is what makes America so great. We are in a process called the American experiment. And it ebbs and flows. We're in a very trying period right now. That's okay. We've been here trying periods before. And we know and believe that these trying experiences make us better. We're not shying away from them. We're Americans. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
So I'll just tell you briefly what, for me personally, for us, my wife and I, so my wife was dancing around the room and so happy a few weeks ago. What happened? Her sister called up and said, I'm going to come out and spend 6 weeks with you. Woo! I'm telling you, my wife was standing in the kitchen and she was dancing and singing. Because A, she loves her sister, younger sister, and B, it's somebody to talk to. She's not going to talk to me all the time, so fine. She doesn't have many friends here, only because, not that she's not a friendly person, just that that's not her, very private. And so her sister Iris has been here for a number of weeks already, and will be here still, and that's very special. And in addition, thankfully, this year, we have our 2 grandsons who are 8.5 and 5.5, and they'll be here with my son, who, dumb fellow, divorced his wife. That's a different story. I won't go there. I tell him he was wrong. Anyway, we'll be here with the 2 kids. So we have all of us, and we're having some friends over and such. The real point is that it's pleasant. It's loving. It's care. Every positive, purposeful, powerful, purposeful word that you could ever think of is here, because that's the emotions of the day, right? As you said so beautifully, Diane, you go around the table and ask me, what are you thankful for? Nobody says, I'm really thankful for the fact that I didn't get paid for 3 weeks. Well, hello, that's done. I mean, people start digging. What am I thankful for? And they you have to challenge yourself. What are you thankful for? So for me, I can say very publicly, I'm thankful right now. I had 2 stents put in, 2 different arteries in my heart. The first time they tried to do it, they couldn't fix it. I had to go to a different hospital where it was a different cardiologist who does these, what they call tricky procedures. So they put in 2 different arteries, 2 different stents. And I saw him recently, and now I'm back swimming my 1.5 miles every day, 6 days a week. And the cardiologist says, you're fine. Maybe in 10 years we'll just keep watching you. But am I thankful for this? Oh, hello. It is good to be amazed. I'm amazed. I love getting up in the morning. I enjoy going to sleep at night. You can't get better than that. There's a lot of places in the world where you can't because there's wars and stuff. I read about Nigeria, my heart breaks. I read about Sudan, my heart breaks. You see what's going on in Israel, my heart breaks. Ukraine, our heart. These are not just little things around. These are major issues. Most of the world does not live like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the world is in turmoil. Our problems are what I call luxury problems.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost good problems to have. This is a wonderful thing. We have a few more minutes, so we could do we'll do a quick round. If you'd be so kind, Diane, you got 3 minutes, kid. Give us some insight that you'd love to share.
Oh my God. No chance to think. Okay.
Diane, you're good at winging it, first off. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, there's so many insights. Barry, you triggered me when you said, I like getting up in the morning, which is when we say we are fortunate to be Jewish because thankfulness is built into it every moment. And so we wake up and we say, Moda and Elifana, we thank. The first thing we do when we open our eyes is thank God for being restored into our control in this world. And I think all the blessings that are built into being Jewish are meant to make sure that we don't go more than a few minutes at max without thanking God. It is such a part of life to be thankful that's the best part about being Jewish is that there's no part of life you miss. You're always attentive to what's going on. And I think that's the whole thing. Dancing through life. Everybody's watching the new movie Wicked for good. We happened to see it. I was disappointed. But the point is, we don't dance through life. We grab it. And we are forced by our religion even to be noticing. Is it day? Is it night? Is it Shabbat? Is it the rest of the week? Is it, am I with a certain type of group of people that I should be or shouldn't be? Or am I with the right group of people? Am I spending my time learning? Because learning is so basic to being Jewish. And anytime I can get in the car, I put on my podcast and I listen to podcasts so I can learn new Jewish stuff. But all of that is, I'd say the word of wisdom is buried in all my verbiage, is grab onto life. Because if you don't, it will zip by. It does anyway, but it will zip by. They say life is like a roll of toilet paper. And it goes faster the closer you get to the end of the roll. It just goes so fast. And really, if you don't stop and put your brain to observing everything around you and being grateful for everything around you, you'll miss it. So I would say gratitude needs to be built in, and that you should be noticing what's going on. And just as you said, Barry, we are so fortunate to be living here and having the problems that we do, because we live in a system that allows problems to be time limited, and that we can work through things and get to the other side and live a life that we can be confident is built on strength. And so we really need to just be appreciative all the time that Thanksgiving is not just a day in the calendar. Thanksgiving is a lifestyle. So
Thank you.
that's
Be appreciative, be attentive. Life stands for living inspirationally for eternity. Maura, 3 minutes.
Okay. This is what hit me, and I had never thought of it before. We opened up talking about Thanksgiving when the original pilgrims came over on the leaky boat. I didn't know the boat was leaky. And they are greeted by an American Indian, hello, who ends up helping them learn the ways of the land. And by the next year, rather than feeling like they're going to die, they are all celebrating life. Then you went to the Lincoln, the Gettysburg Address. Something in all of our discussion made me write this down. The spirit of America. Thanksgiving. We are all different. Many of us have ancestors that have come from different countries, even different religious backgrounds. But the spirit of America, to have hearts to give thanks, wow, that could be, I'm going to see it anew and afresh. I'll probably be talking about it on Thursday. It lends a central theme to the holiday, the year, and whoever it is that we are meeting with. What a beautiful way to think about how to celebrate and how to find unity in a group of people that may not always be together, may not have been together had it not been for the holiday. And in the process of giving thanks and being thankful-minded, everyone's sense of well-being and their heart goes up. And even finally, when you said, we've been through several times in this country, we go through challenging times, but when you could find ways to give thanks, you end up taking heaviness and you turn it into something so much better. I want to use the word bliss, and people feel it and they carry it with them. So I'm going to start thinking this is the new American holiday, the spirit of America, Thanksgiving.
The spirit of America. Wonderful, Lori. 3 minutes, please. Uh-oh.
Hi, what's wrong?
And now, Lori, 3 minutes.
We still can't hear you.
You're still on mute. Oh, no. Now you should be okay. No, now you're on mute.
Now.
Okay, there you go. Oh.
So weird.
Okay, that's it. Oh, no. No.
Hold on, can you hear me now?
Now it's okay.
Oh my God, crazy. Okay, so what all I want to share is that sometimes when you go to Thanksgiving holidays, there's like Uncle Bob who kind of drives you crazy, or your Aunt Sue kind of like upsets you. This Thanksgiving, get rid of all of that. Find Aunt Sue, Uncle Bob, whoever, and tell them how grateful you are for them. Go straight. I call it facing the dragon, or face it, don't fake it, because a lot of people will fake it. Don't fake it, face it. Go straight up to that relative and say how good it is to see them. Because you don't like talking to them. Maybe they drink too much. Maybe they're just kind of rough around the edges. Okay, but you're not. Go straight up there and say something kind to them. Watch what happens. Things will shift. The other thing I've been guiding my students to do this year, because a lot of my students, this is terrible. Like mother-in-law will tell my student, my son doesn't want you coming to Thanksgiving this year. Your kids can come. We'll just see you next year. And to me, that is like, that's another day. But the disintegration of the family, it makes my blood boil to no end. I want to write letters to all these people. But what I tell these women is gather your own people. Gather friends. There's so many people out there that have nowhere to go, and just have a party. Don't, instead of sitting in a pity party, have a party. So you can be the person who welcomes others. But when you welcome people, it's not about just welcoming them all in a big group. take the time to walk up to each individual one by one and say, thank you. I like you most because of X, Y, and Z. Describe the things of what you like about that person, not in front of a group. Oh, no. It is one-on-one. Because when you take the time to connect to one person, you will make that relationship grow. It's never 2 to 1. 3 people, 4 people. No, it is one-on-one. That is how you make a relationship grow. So this Thanksgiving, work on making a few minutes time-wise with every single person. Even the little kids, go up to them and say, hey, buddy, how are you? You know what I like about you? Every time you come up to the Thanksgiving table, you're always so happy. You have such funny things to say. That kid is like, ooh, someone's talking to me? Oh, my God. And then he'll be all like, he'll have something funny to say. And I just think that's a great way of secretly going around and telling everyone how much you really like them. And then as a whole, the party, the gathering, everyone feels amazing.
1 to 1.
Mhm.
Thank you. So I'm going to tell you a wonderful insight that I think you can share with your students, whoever get affected by the mean mother-in-law or whatever the situation is. So this was said by the greatest football coach in Ohio State football history. And he used to teach his players, who was one of my friends, actually, played for Ohio State many years ago. He taught them something called YAW, Y-A-W, Y-A-W. You are who you associate with.
Mm.
So when your students are pushed aside, that's great. Associate with those you want to be with.
Mm-hmm.
Are who you associate with.
Mhm.
When you do that, guess what's going to happen? It's a party! And it's all about giving thanks.
Mm-hmm.
When you can do that, your spirit will rise. Your ability to be attentive and appreciative to living life to the full will be there.
Mhm.
So we're at our time together, and I just wanted to, again, say a huge thank you to each one of you, 101, and do a group hug, and it's a beautiful time. Remember, HUG stands for Heartfelt Unlimited Giving. 1, 2, 3. And our blessing from each one of us, from Maura, from Diane, from Lori, Barry, go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Bye, kids.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Marriage with Joy, which is the most open discussion on the internet about the positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant aspects of living in harmony with matrimony. Marriage with Joy unabashedly discusses the most interesting questions raised by listeners. Our informed and informative panel addresses issues with thought, wit, and aplomb. Voted Best of the Web 2 years running.